So now we're going live here, and after a little bit of a kind of a rocky start, this is the first time I've actually managed to get Zoom and Facebook Live working together well. So I'm kind of impressed by that. Obviously, the key there is to have some wonderful guests. So we have with us Sara and Justin, and if they seem a little overly familiar, that's because they're in different rooms in the same house. So we've got a husband and wife here from Iowa, and we're going to be talking about COVID-19 and how that's affected all the various things that they're doing with their lives. And I got to know Justin a couple of years ago through a site called Kill the Can, killthecan.org. It's a site for people who are trying to quit chewing nicotine, quit chewing tobacco, and just got to know him. How many days for you, Justin?
1180.
1180. I am 1193. I remember I'm 13 days ahead of you, 7 days behind Bat Dad. So it's a great resource. If you are someone who's looking to quit nicotine, it's a fantastic place to go and check it out. Killthecan.org. So we are going to start off with asking you two a couple of questions, and ladies first. So we'll start with Sara, and at least I think you're the lady. Justin's got the big beard, so unless he, yeah.
The bearded lady.
The big bushy beard and the handsome, perfect head is how
it was so funny. He shared a meme on Facebook the other day. He's like, now that all the barbershops are closed, everybody's jealous of us bald men. We're the only ones who know how to cut our own hair.
I'm the same way. And this is weird for me too, because this actually is a lot longer than I like to keep it. Usually in the summertime, usually in the summertime, I go for the bald look. It's just hot. It gets hot, and it's easier for me. And for like 2 or 3 months, I'll go bald. But I don't want to like do the whole goatee and beard, super villain sort of image while I'm running for president. So
his beard is actually short right now. He trimmed it up a little bit for springtime.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's get started. We'll ask you, Sara. How has this whole COVID-19 mess affected you? There's a lot going on, this last month or two in particular. How has it affected you guys out there in Iowa?
So, really, the biggest difference for us is that school is closed and our kids are home. Mm-hmm. Other than that, our lives really haven't changed a whole lot. We're in rural Iowa. I've always worked from home. So I'm continuing to work from home. I haven't lost my job. My job, in fact.
And you do real estate, right?
Mortgages. Yep, I'm a mortgage lender. So we're actually extremely busy right now because everybody wants to refinance. Interest rates tanked due to coronavirus, basically. Oh, wow. So everybody wants to refinance their mortgage. We are extremely busy. We're inundated with applications. I can't even begin to tell you the sheer volume that we're seeing in loan applications still to this day. People applying that want to purchase home or that want to refinance. So my work is very, very busy right now. So that's something that's different that we would normally be seeing. Of course, we'd be seeing the spring purchase boom, but not in addition to a huge refinance boom. The kids are home from school, so that's been a huge adjustment because they're home with me 3 days a week. Mm-hmm. I am still having them go with grandma right now at this point because we trust grandma and grandpa that they are practicing social distancing themselves, and we feel like it's okay to still send them to grandma and grandpa's house a couple days a week to give me a break and to allow me to get some work done because my home is my work. I feel invaded. I really do. I really feel invaded. You can see the kids' toys behind me in my office. They're crawling all over my desk. They're 4.5 and 2. So it's not like they're older kids where they can keep themselves busy and occupied
Right.
most of the day, or where they have their own classes or homework or anything to do like that. So um, that's probably been the biggest change for me so far, is to adapting to having the kids at home and still trying to work and put up huge amounts of volume. Um,
Yeah.
the stress is absolutely unbelievable right now.
So now you mentioned that's something I've never even thought. You mentioned refinancing just because
Yeah,
interest rates are high. Now, is
right.
that something that is specific to Iowa, or have you heard about that happening across the country? Or
Oh no, it's nationwide. The bank
Mhm.
that I work for is a national bank, so we can lend in 50 states. I don't presently lend in 50 states. I probably have about 3 to 4 that I hit really hard, that are the local area: Iowa, Minnesota, South Dakota, Nebraska, just because they're kind of in my neck of the woods. When you say our bank name, people know what that means. They know where you're located. They associate a brick and
right?
mortar location. Um, some people might even think of it as a community bank, so they're familiar with it. We don't really have like a huge national presence, not like a Wells Fargo or a U.S. bank or something like that. Um, but we are lending across multiple different states, and not to say that people aren't contacting us from Colorado or Florida or wherever, to rate shop. That does happen. So
Okay. So I guess next question for anybody who might be watching who is in your region: are you guys hiring? Because it sounds like you've got a job, and you've got a
yeah,
very busy job.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
how long does it take to ramp up and do what you do?
um if you don't have any experience lending, if you've never been a lender before, you probably need a good 1 to 3 years.
Oh wow.
And you really just need to put in the time and the effort in that 1 to 3 years and learn the different programs that are available to you, the different loans that are available to you. Every bank is different. Not every bank offers the same type of loan, so you have to learn, what does this bank do versus bank down the street or bank in the next state over. Um, and just to learn all those different things. There's really a lot to it, and it's not like you can just go and get a degree in mortgage lending. You can't.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. My degree is in business administration and accounting, so that's what I went to school for. Um, there are some courses that you can take, independent study courses, or like an American Bankers Association course if you feel so driven, to take that in mortgage lending. I suppose you could, but most banks are going to give you the training and everything that you need to be successful.
Okay.
Um, it just takes a long time to build up your relationships. You do a lot with realtors, um, so it takes a while just to get your name out and for people to know to call you,
Okay.
and yeah, that you know what you're
Okay.
doing.
So this would be something that's not like, oh, hey, you're out of work, you should be, this is something that can fill the gaps.
Mm,
This is if somebody's looking for a career change.
yeah,
If
this is
if this
a
sort of thing is
definite.
like, oh yeah, a reason for me to change my life up, this is something I can
This
look
is
at.
a definite career
Mhm.
job. It's not something you just come in and do for a couple of years and decide to get out of. Now we do have support staff. We do have loan assistants. We do have processors, and things like that also work from home. I would say right now, I think the bank said something like 60% of the bank is working from home.
Oh wow.
Um, and we had a large work from home presence to begin with, um, but someone like a mortgage processor or a mortgage loan assistant or even an underwriter, arguably, yes, those positions are hiring in full force for any financial institution. If you have any sort of computer knowledge, banking knowledge, finance knowledge, you could easily get a job, tomorrow. Yeah,
Fantastic.
anywhere in the
And
country.
kind of flipping it over there, Justin. You absolutely positively cannot be working from home, correct?
Absolutely is right.
So do you want to explain to me because I kind of have an idea, um, but I could use a refresher and explain to everybody else what it is that you do.
So I'm a custom applicator. I actually put the liquid nitrogen and fertilizers down required to grow a crop every year. And I probably did about 400 acres before this snowstorm, or I would have still been there now and probably wouldn't be here right now.
Oh,
Mhm.
really? So
Mhm.
one, I'm sorry you guys are dealing with snow. It just seems
Yeah.
wrong in the middle of April.
Yep.
Uh, but so you're just getting your season is just ramping up, really, right? You're just
Mm.
getting started.
Yeah, this is just the beginning. I'll be at it from now, well, till the weather straightens up till the end of August, taking care of the crop for the whole season.
Okay. And what out in Iowa, primarily corn, or do you have other crops that you deal with as well?
Corn, soybeans, alfalfa mostly. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Um, and I guess one of the things that's interesting, we were hoping to have a friend of ours, Amanda, on. Amanda and her husband run a harvest team.
Yes.
But from talking to her, from talking to you, I get the impression that even though you are going into work every day, you're still essentially, yeah, it's kind of like a one man job that it's not like you have a team of people around you. You're in your cab, in your spreader, you're out in the field, you're working all day.
It's it's really already the best social distancing job I could ever have in my life because I've done it the last 15 years. Yeah, I go sit in my machine all day long,
Mhm.
14 hours a day, and I only deal with the guy bringing my chemicals to my sprayer, and that's it.
Oh
Otherwise, I'll
wow!
take care of it.
Oh man, that is that, that is awesome, and that's one of the things that's actually come up recently. You've had Representative Thomas Massey talking a little bit about it. They've been talking about it overseas in the UK about the fact that our supply chains are really in danger now, where
Mhm.
you've got farmers that are worried about whether or not they're actually going to be able to sell their crops. You've got
Mhm.
processing plants are closed down.
Mhm.
Some of the major hog and cattle processing plants in the
Yep.
Midwest have shut down.
Yep.
Um, are you the customers that you work with, the farmers that you work with, are they worried about that? Is that something that's on their horizon that they're keeping an eye on, or are they just going about business as usual?
No, they're concerned about it. But a lot of them, they have the mindset in small town Iowa that I've done this for so long, so we're just gonna keep putting the crop in the ground like we always do and roll with the punches and
Mhm.
we'll get through it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to note that there's a lot of farmers out there that are just diversified. So not only are they putting a crop in the ground and they're growing corn and soybeans, but they're also a cattle farmer or they're also a hog farmer. Um, so even if they lose the cattle, at least we've still got the crop, right?
Right.
Or at least we've still got the hogs. Now you're absolutely right in the fact that there are a lot of food processors that are shutting down now, and the farmers are like, well, now what do I do? Now where do I sell my hogs? Now where do I sell my cattle? So that's becoming a huge concern. Not necessarily right where we are, but there are several counties in Iowa that are very big dairy farms as well, that are dumping milk,
I'd
because
heard that. Yeah.
the schools are closed. And who buys a lot of milk? The schools.
Was
The
yeah.
schools are closed, so the demand for milk has gone down. So they're dumping milk. They're losing money every day. So
Yeah.
that's a huge concern. Even with the number of restaurants and bars that have had to close, that aren't ordering um, as much, I guess. meat or bacon as they used to.
Mhm.
It's having an effect already on some of the farmers.
It's strange how some of these things cascade. I had somebody mention today that urban planning, in a lot of cases, when you're talking about suburbs or urban areas, they actually uh, plan capacities for things like the sewer system for, oh, well, most people were at work
Hmm.
for the majority of the day.
Hmm.
So they're starting to see, especially with springtime rains,
Hmm.
that they're having some trouble with sewer capacities because
Hmm.
they didn't expect people to be home for these
Hmm.
communities to just be completely packed and full of people for
Right.
24 hours a day for a month on end.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
next question for you guys. Bring it up. So, what have you seen anybody in your communities working together? Have you seen people reaching out to help others? I've heard of people doing grocery pickups for older neighbors who are afraid of going out. My brother actually runs a small restaurant chain, local restaurant chain down in Savannah, and they had to close down, and they were worried about having to get rid of food, and basically they farmed it out to all their employees and said, here we go, just divvy it all up. We're gonna have to throw it out anyways. You guys take it as your layoff bonus or whatever.
Hmm.
What have you seen? What have you heard about going on in your community about people helping each other?
Um, a lot of the schools are still serving lunch so that the kids can eat.
Yeah.
So the school nutritionists are still going to the school and cooking lunch, and you can go to the school and pick up a lunch for your child. Um, if you're part of like the free and reduced lunch program,
Right.
you can still get a lunch for your child. So a lot of the community schools are doing that still. Um, a lot of the women that are farmers' wives in Iowa are sewing masks. They're making the homemade masks or the handmade masks, and donating those to the hospital. Our band director at the school has a 3D printer, and he's 3D printing the face shields, like the plastic
Oh
face
yeah.
shields, and donating those to the hospital. So that's how I know for a fact in our community that people are helping. The grocery
Mhm.
store does deliver. Um, the local grocery store does, I should say. The large chain grocery stores, you just have to pick up curbside. I don't know that they do anything for delivery, but the smaller towns, they'll deliver.
Yeah. I think I remember you, Justin, saying that you've been doing the grocery runs and doing the pickups.
Yeah.
So
It's funny. We're kind of backwards in that because I think it was after we had Weston and I was breastfeeding, it was just easier for me to stay home with the kids and the baby and him just to go to town. I mean, it's 20 minutes for us to go to town, then get the
mhm,
groceries, and then 20 minutes back home. We're in a very rural area. So it
yeah,
was just easier for me to stay home with the kids and for him to go to the grocery store. So he's honestly been doing our grocery shopping for what? Probably 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
now I have to ask: do you make sure that he goes after lunch or something? Because I know sending me to the grocery store when I'm hungry is a disaster. I
No,
come
we
home and
make a
I'm like,
list.
look, sardines! I haven't had sardines
No.
in forever.
Uh-uh. It goes, if it's not on the list, it doesn't get bought. And everybody in the house knows that. There's a list on the
You have to
refrigerator
put it
and
on
you
the list.
have to write it down. And if it's not on the list, it doesn't get bought.
Yep. And that has been it's kind of strange for us. It's been a little weird um, because we're not in a rural area. We're not in an urban area either. But we can drive 15 minutes to get to Walmart. Right? It's not a big
Mhm.
deal. So it's never really been a big thing to say, oh, we need to run out for milk or something. Um, but it is kind of strange. My youngest she ran out of her hot sauce. She likes her buffalo wing sauce on her eggs, and she's like, we need to get some more. And we're like, well, when we get the chance, when we run out, next time we go to the grocery store, well, why can't we do it now? We don't want to. We don't want to go out and unless we absolutely have to. So, how about you? Just anything going on with you at work with folks that you've talked to?
It's really pretty much business as usual. We all go to work and look at each other and say, you know what? If we're sick, we're gonna stay home. We know we got to do this job. We got to grow a crop, so we're gonna be here. We're just gonna do life as usual, and hopefully the rest of this stuff will get straightened out eventually. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not much I'm grateful that you are. I mean, seriously, you're without the farmers doing what they're doing, without you doing what you're doing, we're looking, not at people having trouble now, but a month or 2 months or 3 months down the line, people hitting some really serious difficulties. So I guess last two questions for you guys, because I know it's late. You just got the kids to bed. What kind of a two-part question? What do you think we're doing right as a country, as at the federal, at the state, at the local level, at your community level? What do you think we're doing right, and what do you think we've screwed up? What do you think we should have done differently, or we need to do differently in the future? And I see Sarah obviously has some answers. So we'll hold that off. We'll go with Justin first. Justin, what do you think? What have we done right? What have we done wrong?
Really? You're gonna start with me?
She's actually giggling at the idea of
she wants to talk.
You and Sherry
really?
would go on real well.
Do it.
I do think that the largely populated areas are probably doing the right thing. I think they should probably stay away from each other.
Yeah.
I mean, out here where we live, some of the sections we live in, square sections, there might be 5 people in a whole section.
How big is the section?
640 acres square section of 4 miles, or what is it? 1, 2, 3.
I was just saying,
4
it's
miles
a square
square,
mile, isn't it? Yeah.
4 square miles.
Oh wow! Holy cow!
So some of our sections, there's only probably 4 people in.
Yeah.
So you're like, your population density is like 1 person per square mile.
Well, essentially, yeah.
I think the population density of the county is like 25 people per square mile.
Yeah, a little bit different from New York.
Yeah,
right.
A little bit.
And what's one of the things that is interesting in talking about that, it doesn't even seem to be population density, because California actually seems to be doing pretty well. And one of the things that they're starting to realize is that in China, it looks like in China and Korea, the key factor for them was not necessarily the population density or even social distancing, but it was shutting down public transportation, which is a very big thing in New York, very big thing in Chicago. You start getting rid of those situations where people are forced to be around each other and can't distance, and you seem to dramatically halt the spread and slow the spread. So I guess getting people to 4 people per square mile and putting them all in spreaders and getting them out there does the same thing.
I guess I'm pretty happy actually with our governor's rules, because she understands what I just told you, that our population is so different than the rest of the country.
Yeah.
So she's saying, no, I'm not going to say, let's shut the whole state down, because
it doesn't make
we
sense
don't have
for
the
everybody.
people that everybody else does.
If you shut down Iowa, you shut down the rural areas of Illinois and other Midwest states, everybody else in the country starts suffering. So, yeah, that's thank you for that. Anything you think we could have done better?
I'm still working, so I guess I don't have many complaints.
Okay. How about you?
I'll complain.
Here we go. Here comes the complaint. Okay. I've heard a little bit from you before, so.
I've talked to Sam Rob about some of these things. Being a mortgage lender, I'm interested in this stimulus package. I'm interested in the financial aspect of what government has done. $1,200 per person. Cool, but guess what? It's too late. People got their money, today, maybe, if they were lucky, yesterday. But people have been laid off for weeks already. People were already suffering 6 weeks ago. And to just say, well, file for unemployment. Well, that's not going to fix everybody's problem. The whole country can't be on unemployment. Not forever.
No.
I mean, how many people are unemployed now? I think it was like another 5.2 million or something just this week that filed. That's not sustainable.
It's like 27 million now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. I think it was like 5.2 that just filed this week, or I don't know what I read. That just can't go on forever. I talked to you about the mortgage. People are able to put their mortgage in forbearance for 3 months. Okay, great. But then the bank wants all of it paid back in month 4. How does that help anything? How does that help anybody? It doesn't. It just snowballs it all until month 4 and says, well, hopefully you're back to work by then, and can afford to make all 4 of your mortgage payments. Well, chances are if you got laid off, and maybe you're collecting unemployment, but that's not helpful. That's something that we got wrong. The student loans, okay, no interest on student loans, and you don't have to make any payments for 6 months. Okay, cool. Guess what? I have federal student loans. Thank you. I'll take the no interest. Absolutely, I will. But guess what? I'm still going to make a payment because I want to reduce my principal balance in that time. And so I applied to still make payments during all of this, and it's going to take them 6 weeks to get back to me. That's not hopeful.
We're hearing about places where people filed for unemployment 6 weeks ago and they're still waiting,
and they haven't gotten anything. Right, exactly.
And on top of that, you've got they're talking about doing another stimulus package, and let's give everybody $2,000 a month for a while. And you seriously, you start thinking and saying, okay, that's not a lot, but if it's me and my wife, right, and we're both getting $2,000 a month, that's actually not bad. It's depending on where you are in the country, there's not a whole lot of incentive to get back into the
There's not
game,
at
back
all.
into the business there.
Right. And then what does that cost us later? How are we really paying for that? This $1,200 from the research that I've done is a credit on 2020 taxes. And there's some income thresholds there to the point where if you make more income in 2020 than you did in 2018 or 2019, you might have to repay that.
Yeah.
How is that helpful for anybody either? And it'd be nice to know. And I guess for me, I don't want to tell people, you know what? If you think you're going to be one of those people, you better stick that in a savings account and don't spend it. And then what was the point of it to begin with? Nothing.
Yeah, it hasn't done you any good.
Right.
And that's one of the things that really, really is frustrating is, aside from, okay, we weren't sure about how COVID-19 spread or how much of a threat it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So we took some very rigorous precautions.
Right.
We're talking about the social distancing. We're talking about shutting down non-essential services. One of the really interesting things is even weeks before, state governments started talking about this. Businesses, communities, churches, synagogues were already doing exactly that. Mm-hmm. They were looking at the situation, making a decision on their own, and and saying, no, this is what we're going to do, which probably helped a lot more than the actual government response. What we've been fighting so far has been the government getting in the way of testing, getting in the way of vaccine development, getting in the way of the communities helping one another, and dealing with things like getting PPE to frontline personnel who are dealing with infected individuals. On top of all that, just seeing the economic problems that seem to come from people who, to be honest, you look up at Michigan, you look at some of the other governors that are basically issuing, giving executive orders and shutting down this part of the state or that part of the state without really having an understanding of what they're doing. And a lot of that comes, I think, from the fact that, especially when you get to the senior state level, get to the federal level, you're talking about politicians who are very finely tuned fundraising and vote-getting machines. And you hate to say it, and you would hope that they would be better than that. But in a lot of cases, it seems like they lean so heavily on advisors and that they don't have the capacity to understand. Hey, I'm in an agricultural state. Veterinary services are not a luxury, right? Because someone from the city might think, oh well, dog, that means your dog groomers are taking care of getting your cat spayed. Someone who lives out in the country is thinking, no, I've got sick cattle. I'm risking losing tens of thousands of dollars here if I don't have a vet come out. So that's I think that's been a real big, obviously a real big problem. And little plug here, being a libertarian, the answer to that is what we're seeing kind of in the way the different states have dealt with things, and even below the states at the county levels, where every location is different. New York City is not Los Angeles. Obviously, we can see that, right? Is not Iowa. Is not rural Pennsylvania. We all have very different different geographies. We have different populations and different population densities, different travel mechanisms and patterns. Everybody needs to be able to deal with their own situation as best they can. And what we're seeing is places where we're allowed to do that, we're doing well. Unfortunately, at the federal level, we've got the federal government screwing it up and putting everybody in the same basket. So I'm gonna try and see. Unmute Clay. Are you there, Clay? I see he's on. I don't see him. I'm not hearing him. I don't hear any video.
All right, sorry. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we can hear you now. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I'm not going to grace y'all with my beautiful face tonight.
Oh, come on. Look at me. Hair in a messy bun. Oh, yeah.
He just actually, there we go.
I'm sitting in the car for this.
It's okay.
How you doing, man? It's been a long time.
I'm doing all right. How you been?
I'm doing fine, guys. This is my friend Clay, and we refer to him as Gas. That's his nickname. But he's a truck driver, so he's got yet another perspective on all this mess. And you're not driving right now. Is that right? You're kind of out of business for a little bit.
Yeah, I've been down since March 25th.
Oh wow!
So since the car plant shut down. So I haul cars. I don't haul essential goods or anything. But yeah, we've been down almost a month now.
Holy cow, man! And
my whole company is down. It's 250 drivers furloughed right now.
Wow. So how are you dealing with that? How are things going for you?
I mean, it's going to start getting tight in a couple of weeks. I was pretty well prepared for it. We saw the writing on the wall back in December and started preparing for it all. But yeah, if I'm not back to work by May, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I hope absolutely hope you are. But for you to get back to work, that means that the plants need to get open and start producing cars again, right?
Yeah, the plant's being open for one day does me no good. They got to ramp up. It'll take a couple weeks for them to really start producing again.
Okay.
Mhm.
So if you're talking about they basically have, if they don't start now,
Mhm.
you're gonna, or in the next couple of weeks you're gonna have some troubles.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And so that's interesting though. You said in December you guys started seeing the writing on the wall.
I
What
don't
was
know
it?
about us. I know I did. I followed it pretty tight when it all started in China, and I don't know. I get a little paranoid about stuff like that, so I started shoving money aside.
Okay.
But
So now are you back home now, or
yeah, I'm
where
pedaling
you
around Kentucky right now.
at? Okay. So how are people around you? How's your neighborhood, your community, your family? How are you all dealing with this?
Well, the family's doing all right. I mean, but like I'm sitting in a Kroger parking lot at 10:40 at night, and it's closed. It's 24-hour Kroger. Where I
Yeah.
live right down the road from the Toyota plant, so this place is usually busy 24 hours a day, and there's I don't know 10 cars in the parking lot.
Wow.
Mhm.
This whole city, everything's closed here. It blew my mind. So I was down in Lexington today. I went down to the UK campus, and it's empty.
Mhm.
It's pretty surreal, all of it.
Yeah. It's odd here. We get similar. We've been out to down to Pittsburgh to go for a walk on Saturday or Sunday, and it's the weekend. Normally, you see a lot of people out shopping and kind of especially in the spring, enjoying the weather, and
Yeah.
just ain't there. Just isn't there anymore. So
Yeah, I was up in your neck of the woods at the end of March, and it's unbelievable. I was up in Philly actually the 20th, and I mean,
I remember. Yeah.
5 o'clock in the afternoon, driving through Philadelphia, and there's just not a car in sight.
Yep. And
Blew my mind.
I had a friend who actually ended up flying out of Pittsburgh Airport just 2 weeks ago, I think, and he was like, "Yeah, I had a flight, and did as usual, get up and head for the airport, and make sure that you allow plenty of time for traffic." And he ended up sitting at the airport like an extra hour, just because that's how quickly he got there.
I'm sure. Yeah, I can't imagine there's anybody really flying. I mean, we don't even have an airport near us for me to go frequent their parking lot and just play around.
They're trying. I mean, I know they're trying to keep the planes moving, just like a truck or a car. You want to keep them running, and it's easier to maintenance. So.
I mean, they were affected way before we were. I mean, the flights in and out of the country are the first thing to really shut down here.
Yeah.
Right.
And then just inside, even the domestic flights, people got too scared to fly pretty quick.
Yeah. So, if you don't mind me asking, if things get rough, it doesn't look like the car plant's opening up. Do you have any options for you as a trucker? Do you have, are they still doing shipping across country, or?
The owner of my company is looking at buying a couple of just regular trucks to haul dry goods. We have dedicated car haulers. We can't haul a regular trailer with our trucks. So he's looking to invest in a couple other trucks just to keep some income coming into the company. But like I said, 250 drivers. He's not going to buy enough trucks for all of us.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, I'll be all right. There's a lot of people in my position that aren't going to be all right, but I will. I'm a single dude. I'm okay. I can live off ramen for a long time, but
you're wearing your high vis. You're gonna live a long time in that company.
I wear my high vis because I don't own anything else.
Justin refuses to wear his high vis. That shirt that he has on tonight is not actually a high vis shirt.
No,
it's not.
Every time I go out, I'm in my high vis.
He absolutely refused. Drives the safety guy insane. That he will not wear his high vis. He won't.
I got free shirts. I'll wear them wherever. I don't care.
No, they don't pay for mine, so I ain't wearing it.
Oh, that's different. Yeah, no, free is free. I'm good. More than anything, for me and people in my shoes, I'm stir crazy. I haven't sat still this long since I was 16. So
that's got to be, yeah. You're used to new town every night just about, right?
Well, I mean, I might be home every weekend, and when I am home, it's 24 hours and out the door again.
Yeah.
So the fact that I've been home since the 25th now is, I'm about going nuts.
Yeah. It's Sarah's talking about having the kids around all day, and it's
my space has been invaded.
I live with 6 of them.
I love my children, but they're on me
that makes
constantly.
2 of us.
I'm just like, go away. I need.
Oh, you do too, Justin?
Oh, hell yes.
I didn't know y'all
all day.
Yeah, he gets to leave every day and escape to go to work. I have to stay here and work and deal with the kids all day long.
Yeah.
I choose to leave. I've put more miles on this vehicle in the past 3 weeks than I have since I've owned it in the last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's not even a joke, fortunately.
we have to. You guys know that I like to walk, but Sharon and I have made a point. We've got to get out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too much. It all blurs together. You wake up
we
and
did
you're
until
like,
it
what
started
day is
snowing.
It was 70 here today.
Yeah, it was
Shut
70. Last Saturday on my birthday, it was 70 degrees. We went outside. The kids played on the swing set. They rode their bikes. It was great. We were outside all day long. Sunday, we got 6 inches of snow, and it's freezing. It's like 20
gonna
degrees.
Be 21 tonight again.
I think it flurried here Tuesday.
Yeah, we got a little bit of flurry today.
For about 30 seconds, and then that night it was 60, 70, maybe even 80. I know I was outside laying in the driveway working on a car in shorts and a t-shirt, so.
Oh. Okay.
No, not yet.
So,
I wish.
Last question before we wrap up. We'll let you go. I asked Sarah, I asked Justin, I'll ask you. What do you think we've done right with this whole COVID-19 situation? What do you think we've done wrong?
Who are you talking about with we?
We. Pick any we you want. We the people, all the individual people, the federal government, state governments, local governments, communities.
From my perspective, I think my state government has handled it about as well as anybody. Kentucky's governor has been pretty amazing through all this. I think at the federal level it was an incredibly slow response and still hasn't completely been addressed.
Yeah.
I've not been impressed with it at all, and I think it's going to end up costing lives, and that's going to be a problem. But as far as what I see from my own area, I've been nothing but happy. I mean, it's a terrible situation no matter how you look at it, but it can be handled certain ways that help a lot, and I think Governor Beshear's done an amazing job of it.
Do you have people in your community helping each other, working with each other to help get things, keep things
We do.
going?
My family is some of them are Jehovah's Witnesses, so they work with the Kingdom Hall and just getting around the community, taking supplies to people, whatever people need, and not just other witnesses, but whoever needs it through the whole community. There's been a lot of outreach around here. Our grocery stores are one of the first ones in Kentucky that had the 6 to 8 a.m. senior only shopping and stuff like that. The response here has been great, but it's no excuse for what the federal level's been. Right.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely agree. Just before you came on, we were talking about that. The response has been slow. They've been getting in the way. I think at this point it's over 150 different rules, regulations, laws that they've had to repeal in order to allow any sort of response to happen, even as slowly as it has. And
and that's a big part of it. Is a lot of our stuff has been so outdated to begin with. I mean, we should have been way more prepared for this than we ever were.
Yeah.
You don't want to expect something like this, but it's kind of their job.
Yeah. And it's one of the things that I've said a couple of times. I hate to say this, but it's the absolute truth. Now, in this day and age, with the technology we have, with the ability that even a small organization can pull together in terms of genetic engineering, you've got actors out there and organizations out there that are looking at this and saying, "Wow, we can bring an entire nation, we can bring the entire world to a standstill by getting something out there like this." And my honest fear is that we're getting a dry run right now. Doesn't seem like it's quite as bad as everybody had feared. It's still not a great situation, but we're seeing where some of the holes are. We're seeing where some of the issues are, and we need to fix them, because next time might be when something comes through. It might not be something that we get lucky with. It might be something that's intended to cause us.
I mean, I don't know how lucky you can consider us. We're 2.5 million cases worldwide now, and the U.S. accounts for more than a quarter of them alone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a heck of a dry run. It's going to do a lot of damage on a dry run.
Yeah. They are seeing things though. That one of the things I just before we came on saw a news story out of Boston where they've been doing testing in a homeless shelter because they were worried about people being exposed, and I think they found somewhere around 30 to 40% of the people that they tested were testing positive with no symptoms.
Yeah.
So this seems to be something that like the flu, and just so people understand, because people tend to freak out when you say that. I'm not saying that this is like the flu. I'm not saying that this is the flu. I'm saying that similar to the flu, it does seem to hit certain populations, older people with underlying conditions, and there seems to be some evidence that there's some genetic markers that may play into factors that make you more susceptible. That's all to say. It seems like there's a large portion of the population. If you're young, if you're healthy, you kind of just shake it off. So that in that respect, I think we are lucky.
But even then, because they've spread that news that if you're young and healthy, you're fine, all of a sudden we have a bunch of young and healthy people that are getting extremely sick.
Yeah.
That are still out running around, having parties, not social distancing, and
I mean, it comes down to people are selfish and stupid, but I don't know.
Bottom line, people are stupid.
Yeah.
What was the line from? What was the line from one of the Men in Black movies? Tommy Lee Jones.
Panicky, scared, stupid creatures, or something like that.
Yes. Individual people are smart. People.
Yes. People are stupid.
People are panicky. Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Justin's been saying for several weeks now, I'm just going to keep going to work, and I got to grow a crap so that all these people out there can still eat and hoard toilet paper.
Yeah, I mean, he's right. Yeah.
That's true. It's true. And we that's really where we're at right now. I think we keep going as best we can. Just you keep farming when you get the chance. You go back to doing your job, all in cargo. You make those mortgages and write that software. Do your best to just keep things rolling, because when we come out of this, and hopefully it'll be soon. Hopefully we've already got people talking about loosening up restrictions, opening up businesses again. And I'm grateful for that, because one of the things that I really agree with, I've got a friend who hammers this. He says that non-essential businesses are not non-essential for the people that are getting a paycheck from them, the people that are supporting a family from them.
Right.
So these non-essential businesses are all very essential to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And the sooner we can get them back on track, the sooner we can get back to the point where we're not having to hand out trillions of dollars every couple of months in order to just keep people going.
I mean, I agree with that as long as we're ready for it. I mean, what good's it do if we're back in business May 1st and then all of a sudden we have a second wave of the pandemic that's done the same amount of damage again? Or worse, because now people aren't going to social distance a second time.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see, and I hope we'll see that. We saw early on that people started doing things like you mentioned, like people started looking at things and making their own decisions, making their own plans. You saw that at company level, you saw that at the individual level, the community level. I think we're starting to see that as people kind of open things up a little bit, but I think hopefully, I think we're going to be a little bit guarded, trying to make sure that we're doing this carefully and cautiously. And I know, just for my sake, I'm going to be social distancing for a while.
Yeah.
You mean I can't run up and give you a hug next time I see you?
You know what? You and Justin. I'll let you and Justin.
Was it really that long ago? Come on, man.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
It
really it seems like a world ago, but it was just
like 6 weeks. Yeah. It was the end of February, I think. You know, I said this before, like, I really don't feel like a whole lot has changed for us other than the fact that the kids are home. So I'm ready for my kids to go back to school.
Do your kids understand this, or do they just think this is extended spring break?
No, they're 4.5 and 2. Our oldest is almost 16, so he totally gets it, and he understands and everything. But the younger two they just don't really, they don't even know why school is out, or why they're not going, or why they're not going to daycare or whatever. So, no, they don't understand it, and I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So, final question for you guys. This is the important one. This is the big one. Once all this blows over, once everything is starting to open up again, and we'll start with you, Justin. Where are you going to go to eat? Where are you going to go out to eat the first time?
I know his answer.
Say that one more time.
Where are you going to go out to eat?
I think it's going to have to be for prime rib and Cherokee, definitely.
Yep. I second that. That's where I'm going to.
There we go. Husbands, dwell with your wives according to knowledge. So you apparently have that nailed down. How about you, Clay? Where are you going?
I'll be honest with all this. I've learned I know how to cook a little bit, and I'm probably just going to make me a fat steak in the backyard again.
That sounds great.
We got some local steakhouses here I kind of miss. It'd be something here in Georgetown. Support another local company. Help them out. But.
We've been talking. We're going to have some folks over. We're going to get a bunch of kibasi and a bunch of sausages, and we're going to have a big old cookout.
You got my number.
Absolutely need that. Hey, we'll let you know, man. We absolutely will let you know when it all happens.
Does that pine wood burn very well?
Oh, yes, the pine will burn very well. We have piles of it around the property right now. So
yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah. Hey, as a matter of fact, next time you come through, I'm going to throw a couple of logs in your cabin. You can
please do.
Next time you see that,
firewood for 3 weeks.
Okay. Thank you. Hey guys, thank you for being on. Thank you for being part of this. Everybody out there, remember, 6 feet away, stay safe, don't touch your face, no licking doorknobs. Just do whatever you need to do.
Don't take the fun out of everything.
And we'll see you all next time.
He said doorknobs, not windows.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The windows still taste good. The windows are still okay. They got that blue Windex taste to them. Okay. We'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, Sam.
Goodbye to everybody on Facebook.
Bye.
We're going to go ahead and